I want to extend my welcome to everyone who is joining us at the Center for Real Estate World Real Estate Forum. I'm welcoming partners and friends and researchers in the global community that we've assembled at the center and are part of our activities and research. Let me give a little introduction to our topic for this morning. Yesterday, some of you may have noticed that Walgreens, a drugstore conglomerate, announced a $1 billion deal with VillageMD to open doctor's offices in 700 neighborhood drugstores. These are the same places we buy Diet Coke, cosmetics, and Halloween candy. This is just one of many signals that we're in the midst of a tectonic shift in attitudes about healthcare. In fact, it is argued that even the very definition of healthcare is changing. From a definition of healing illness and injury, which is the domain of hospitals, to wellness of the mind, body, and spirit, the domain of communities, homes, nature, social activities, and supportive technologies that enable more healthy lifestyles to prevent illness and injuries and reduce our dependence on institutions like hospitals that concentrate the sick and the injured and in institutions that are incredibly expensive. Now, this shift in attitude has been going on for a while and has many roots, from the rise of holistic medicine and the explosion of spas, health clubs, health stores, and resorts, to the advent of digital medicine and community health delivery. These forces are now converging to present extraordinary opportunities to both the real estate and the healthcare industries, which I don't need to remind you are two of the world's largest industries. In the US alone, $3.5 trillion was spent on healthcare in 2019, and $14 trillion in the market for commercial real estate, which doesn't even include single-family homes, according to NAREIT, the American keeper of data on these issues. Underlying the intersection, though, of these two giant industries are fundamental demographics. Right now, across the world, we have the two largest generations in history increasingly focused on health and wellness. In the US, the 72.1 million millennials, age 23 to 38, are prioritizing healthy activities and lifestyles over acquiring things like cars. They favor sharing rather than purchase and see shopping, living, even work as social activities essential to wellness. They're rejecting communities and want services now, here. A few years in front of them are the 71 million baby boomers, age 55 to 73, who are aging, but they're not about to be institutionalized in assisted living, nursing facilities, or hospitals, and prefer overwhelmingly to stay in their homes and communities with family, social, and service networks to sustain them. By the way, all these trends are being dramatically accelerated by the pandemic. If you have a family member like my elder aunt in New Jersey, who has been confined by the state to her tiny assisted living unit surrounded by the sick and dying people, you will know what I mean. There must be better alternatives than that. At the Center for Real Estate and the World Real Estate Forum each year, we try to focus our research theses and projects on fundamental topics that will inform and transform the real estate industry. This year, we have asked the question, how will demands for health-centered communities, workplaces, and lifestyles affect real estate and medicine? We're attempting to bring together work on the design of healthy buildings, on wellness-centered neighborhoods, telemedicine, new real estate typologies, products, and sources of capital, health equity to confront the disparity between rich and poor communities that have been so tragically highlighted by the pandemic. And finally, the emergence of policies such as health impact assessments which are being advocated by the American Planning Association, and rating systems for the human environment, paralleling what we have for the natural environment. And it's interesting that these concepts of health of the natural environment and health of human beings, the concepts are increasingly being blended together. To assist in this search, we have joined with the Harvard School of Medicine and the MIT Age Lab. I am delighted that Dr. Stanley Shaw from Harvard and Joe Conklin from the Age Lab will be joining us for our panel later on. With these experts, we are offering a series of webinars starting at the end of the month, culminating in an executive education course next spring on developing health-centered communities, the next revolution in real estate. I believe the details are posted on the conference website for those who are interested in joining us. Turning now to our special guest, there is no better person to kick off our discussion of all this than Dr. Ari Vecchio-Antaroikko, adjunct professor at the University of Tampere in Finland. He is an economic development scholar and author of a recent book, Wellness City, Health and Well-Being in Urban Development, which pulls many of these issues together, and I highly recommend the book to you. So Ari, in your book, you argue that health and wellness industries are reshaping both the suburbs and inner city areas and are becoming integral parts of urban development. Can you explain how and why this is happening?
Well, there are many reasons for that. One of them is definitely that there is demand for wellness, for slightly more broadly understood health than what we did previously. So people want authenticity. They want the kind of balance between what is called bodily, mental, and spiritual health. So that kind of things. And then there is this generation of wealthy boomers who have these kinds of desires. There are many these kinds of elements in our society that generate demand that is then met by companies, and especially, of course, this kind of wellness experts and whole industry of kind of life coaches and so forth. So that kind of, it's a very diverse area, because there are also this kind of new lifestyle developments going on. People want community life. There are these agri-hoods and so on. So we want different kind of touch into not only on ourselves, but also our environment, and find the balance, find something that let's say distantiates us a little bit from the traditional idea of modernity. So this is at least one sort of major factor behind this trend. People want something more.
Well, of course, modernity, the idea of modernity is to make people part of the machine of efficient cities and work and so forth. And I think particularly young people are looking to step back a little bit from the machine and get physical activity and to enhance their spiritual and everyday life, and to create a greater balance between work and living. One of the things you mentioned is that Wellness City is connected, or I would say one might say encompasses, such city-making concepts as the livable city, sustainable city, smart city, knowledge city, and creative city. Can you elaborate on this? For example, how are we seeing the conflation of wellness and sustainability? And the reason I ask this is because the Center for Real Estate is in a school of architecture and planning, and you hear these city-making concepts being tossed around all the time. And I think it's interesting that wellness begins to encompass all of those.
Yeah, well, when thinking about these other urban or city concepts, one thing is clear, that the other side is more or less like economically motivated. A creative city, in the end, basically it's about economic development, utilizing our creativity. And so it's touristic city and many other kinds of city concepts. But then when we discuss about inclusive city or sustainable city and that kind of things, they start from our rights, our, how should I say, ethically motivated being as a part of urban communities and as a part of global community, basically, and so on. So there are two streams, I would say, of concepts that relate to this. And somehow my idea has been actually to breach a little bit this by taking this wellness idea, which relates to inherently sustainability and inclusiveness and many other aspects, also with the local economic development aspect, which is in my terminology basically about value creation. We have to have good ideas which are not only about rights, only about something that we consume, but they can be also something that we utilize in creating something new. And that's why I have tried to bridge these two spheres of urban concepts. Of course, then how these interrelate, I mean, sustainability and wellness, for example, there are two rules. The other one is that, as you remember of the Club of Rome, etc., it was very much about ecological aspect, this sustainability. It started to widen to economic sustainability, social sustainability, and wellness is a natural continuation from that discourse towards like a broader understanding of human well-being. While on the other hand, we can see that sustainability is at the same time a kind of sub-sector of wellness development. Because there is a nature, there is built urban environment, etc., which are really in a concrete way urban and a sustainable development related areas. But there are a lot of other aspects in wellness which cannot be reduced to sustainability. So that's why it can be seen actually in two very different ways, as a subcategory of wellness or as a wellness even as a kind of extension of sustainability discourse.
Well, obviously there's then a confluence in the marketplace, as you started to say, in demands for wellness and demands for sustainability. In real estate development, after many, many years of experiments and trying, I think the industry has now generally accepted that sustainability needs to be an important part of every project. Yeah. And I myself don't see it far off that wellness needs to be an important part of every project as well. After all, if you can offer a building in which people will be healthier than the building down the street, that has real economic value and value to the companies that are located in that building.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the economic aspects of this. Healthcare institutions are the largest employers in 60% of the US's largest cities. How do you think the refocus on wellness will affect economic growth and development? For cities that don't have a major health infrastructure or assets, can they take advantage of this trend? Can they become healthy cities as well?
This is a really vital question for many local communities that actually do not have this kind of strong healthcare complexes or institutions to drive their development in this field. But at the same time, if we tie our view too much to healthcare institutions, we might also miss some part of the opportunity open up by this wellness discourse. And that's, I think, the most important lesson to the local communities that don't have strong, this kind of engines that come from this healthcare sector. And the basic point is that actually healthcare is not at the core of wellness. Healthcare is primarily an illness care machinery, to put it very bluntly. But anyway, wellness broadens the picture so much more than that. And that's the opportunity. So it's not only about how we are treated when we get sick. It's also about how we treat ourselves when we are not yet sick. So it's about maintaining our health and improving it in various ways. And it's also about, if you think about wellness, it's also about safety of the community. It's also about our, let's say, intellectuality. That's an important part of wellness. And there should be institutions to support that as well. It's about social relations and cultural things that really enrich our lives. So if we start to draw this kind of map of economically viable areas that we can develop and, let's say, in an integrated manner around the concept of a wellness city, it's actually so much huge that this healthcare area forms only a small part of it.
I see. And if we look at it conversely from the medicine point of view, many cities and states, or even the federal government under Obamacare, are moving to get hospitals to take more responsibility for the health of the communities in which they're located. New York City has had a great step forward in the Bronx around this. So what I would say, the disaggregation of what we call healthcare from the institution into the community is coming. It's being pulled by the residents and actually pushed by changes in medicine itself and our idea of what medicine should do. It's a little difficult in this format, but what are the strategies that you discovered in your research about successful wellness cities? How are they different from other cities? Can you briefly describe one that has been involved with commercial real estate? I thought it was very interesting in the conversation you just had, or discussion you just had, that commercial activities, retail, restaurants, all of these things that we expect to find in cities are also aspects of wellness because they are seen as social places of social interaction and well-being, as well as entertainment. So in the book, you discuss smart wellness cities in Japan, the healthcare hub in Tampere, and Water Street in Tampa. Can you pick one of these, or tell us what are the characteristics of places which have taken advantage of this wellness trend?
Yeah, well, first, if we start about strategies themselves, in order to give us some kind of simple picture of how to conceptualize in general wellness strategies, I was thinking a city as a dissipative structure. And that means that city is a kind of node that relates to its environment in various ways, sending and receiving the flows of energy, material aspects, the people's activities and money and so on. So cities are dissipative structures, and that's how I started to think about wellness, that some wellness businesses are more about the internal development of communities. That relates very much to real estate area, for example. But some areas of wellness attract wellness flows from abroad, like outside the community, and they grow that way. And some strategies are based on exports, so they produce something that is valuable to the outside communities or countries and continents and so on. So through these kinds of pictures, I started to systematize what kind of wellness strategies we actually can identify. And the one that relates to, let's say, this kind of, which are most locally rooted, relate to actually what you describe about these healthcare centers and that kind of developments. What we'll have, for example, in Tampere, it's almost, we started with University Hospital, and now it's really evolving as a kind of healthcare city, including hotels and R&D and many other activities. And the other area is more real estate oriented, like we have seen in Lake Nona, which is probably one of the most ambitious projects of its kind, in Orlando. It's a real estate business, but it also includes universities, this kind of what they call the medical, Lake Nona Medical City, I think. These kinds of value-adding activities, plus these conventional real estate businesses with very pleasant environments for people, various kinds of housing opportunities, nice environment, a lot of events designed to people who want to stay healthy and so on. So I would take this kind of as a kind of model example of very ambitious real estate oriented development, this Lake Nona in Orlando. And then there are more dynamic, just very quickly, there are dynamic processes, like in Japan, for example, their smart wellness cities are more about making people move, making people live more healthy life, and then measuring it, supporting it, providing incentives sometimes, even on the basis of the improved results and so on. So there are various ways of, utilizing this wellness aspect in local development.
So this is where, of course, technology begins to come in providing feedback loops and measuring the effectiveness of what we design and build in terms of health outcomes. And I think it's fair to say that the more we move into this space, the better we will get at it, and that there's plenty of room for innovation. Well, let me, that's the end of my questions. Thank you so much.
Dennis,
I want to ask you, Ari, is there anything else that you feel you want to add to this discussion? We're going to be involved with various aspects of real estate over the next 2 days. Do you have any guidance to developers and investors about where we're going in cities around wellness?
There are a lot of interesting things to discuss, but let's say one thing, that when we start conceptualizing wellness from the kind of at individual level, holistic health, to the community level, we come to structures of communities that can either support or hinder this kind of wellness-oriented lifestyle. And that's one thing that we have to start thinking about, the structures and functions of the city in terms of how they help us to live healthy lives. And the next step is to take this sort of international aspect into account. We are really, in the modern societies, cities are dissipative structures that breathe with their environments. And now we can produce a lot of good things to faraway markets, and we can also attract tourists, etc., and generate income in our community. So wellness is it's a very exciting concept, because we haven't developed it further yet so much in terms of, let's say, local economic development. That's why it's one of the most fascinating area, much more fascinating than Creative City or many others, because they have already been used 20 years, and wellness is just about to begin.
Right, and to me, one of the most interesting things about your work is this idea of looking over all of these types of cities and buzzwords that are being used and say, look, ultimately, what is it that we really want from our cities? And at the most basic level, it's health. I mean, health for our families, our kids, our communities, and through that and wellness is also, I would argue, happiness and contentment with your life. And that is the ultimate goal of city design, and also of real estate, because people who enjoy where they're living, who grow and can develop and be healthy, are going to be attracted to these places and make them successful. So I want to thank you so much, Ari Vecchio, for helping us on this topic. I found your book amazing, and really would recommend to anyone who's interested in this topic to get that book. And I don't want to start a stampede of emails to you and so forth, but it's a real service to have put all this together in a rigorous way to really understand this change in real estate and urbanism. So many thanks for taking the time to join us, and I hope we can be working together in the future.